Host YouTube, and we're back with another video game review. Oh Kirby, so simple, so cute. A new game released and it's Kirby's first real step into the third dimension. I remember that I borrowed Kirby's Dream Land on my Game Boy Color when I was younger. But other than that, I hadn't really much interaction with the series as a whole. Sure, I played Smash and I watched the anime, but the next Kirby game that I bought on my own was Star Allies. I had some good fun with that game, so when it was announced that this game was coming out, I was very excited to play it. But can this game manage to meet my highest expectations and lowest expectations of just wanting to have a good time? Yes, but stick around to find out how. The game opens with Kirby having a nice day and the universe deciding that enough was enough. Some sort of spatial wren tears the sky open and starts to suck up Dreamland, from the trees and the blocks to the Waddle Dees and even Kirby himself. Our cute little pink puffball is tossed out into the outskirts of somewhere unknown and he has to figure out what's going on. Right out of the gate, you notice that this game has an extra dimension to it compared to other Kirby games. As stated in the intro, this game is fully 3D, though it's not quite a Mario or a Zelda. While we do have some extra space, the camera is mostly fixed with the right stick giving the slightest bit of movement. I think the only time the camera has given a wider range of movement is in the opening stages. The Forgotten Land went for a diorama type look that moves the camera where the developers wants us to see, most of the time from the top down. This focused camera keeps things simple, focused, and complements Kirby's game's tendency to try and hide things out of sight with the smallest visual hints giving them away. This tendency shows up pretty early as we do our best to make our way through this dilapidated city, an area so old that the wildlife has reclaimed over the paved land itself. Just a little further in, we run into a broken down car and Kirby tries to suck it up like he always does, but this time he gets his body stretched over it instead. This is the game's gimmick, Mouthful Mode. There are certain items in this game that Kirby can stretch his body over that are mostly used to solve puzzles, but some do come with their own form of attack like the car or the cone. This mechanic main focus is changing how Kirby interacts with the levels themselves and gives it a distinct feeling from his normal copy abilities. That being said, I don't like the way this looks. Completely personal, but on a scale of 1 to 10, Mouthful Mode lands on a solid Gumby. Translated, that means, I enjoy this media, but why's it gotta look like that though? His feet stick out when he's over the car. I am uncomfortable. Putting my own personal aesthetic taste aside though, after a fun little intro, we ride far enough until we can ride no more. As we make our way on foot, we see more Waddle Dees being captured in a destroyed town area, but also a new phase. We managed to save the newcomer, but the Waddle Dees are still gone. Our new character had been with the Waddle Dees and tried helping them protect themselves, but it was all for naught. They want to come with us to help them, and they introduce themselves as Elfilin. With that, we hit the warp star and we reach the world map. We move about the world map on the warp star, and that's how we get into the levels themselves this time. Our rewards for completion are Waddle Dees. A cage of 3 is at the end of each level, but there are hidden ones throughout the stage as well. Plus, there are also special ones that are tied to level-based challenges. They can range from blooming flowers to finding secret areas. The game initially hides the criteria for these special Ds, but slowly reveals them after level completion. If it's a requirement that takes a certain number of actions to reach, it reveals itself after doing that action one time, and they will all pop up during the stage if you complete any of them while playing. These extra Ds add to exploration and are a nice replay incentive to try and repeat the levels. I think the whole Waddle Dee aspect is done very well. The hidden Ds unlock in order so you know if you've missed one earlier on in the level, and the secret missions work the same way. It can get a little muddled depending on how many collectible missions there are, because those tend to last the entire level and are ordered by when the first item is available, but I think it's pretty straightforward for the most part. In fact, there is a mission in the bridge level that breaks the rules, but it can lead to an unrelated secret that changes how you interact with the entire level itself, so it kinda makes sense why it's last on the list. Levels unlock one after each other in the area, but to get to the boss, you need to rescue a certain number of Waddle Dees first. Even the first boss needs more than just the base number of 3 Ds per level, but with the hidden ones you find and the extra ones that you will naturally find while playing the game, you'll have way more than enough. I've resolved early on to just find what I find and not try to 100% it outright and come back to levels later, and I ended up with almost double the amount I needed. But after beating the first boss, we come to realize what collecting all of these Waddle Dees are for. We return back to the destroyed town area and we find the Waddle Dees rebuilding the area. This is the Waddle Dee town. As you collect more Waddle Dees, the town grows to have more accommodations. They can range from building Kirby a house where he can sleep to regain his health because damage carries over from level to level, mini games like fishing or working for the restaurant that rewards you coins, fish, even a stand that sells power-ups. You can raise your attack power or your speed for around 2.5 minutes, or you can double your health until you lose the first health bar. All of these buffs can be stacked and you can carry one item with you during the levels, including the restaurant's healing food items. There are even more things to unlock, but the most important building is the weapon shop. It's here where an easy supply of your copy abilities are stored and are able to be upgraded. For them to appear in the shop at all, you need to have found them in the levels, and for them to be upgraded you would need to find special blueprints that are scattered somewhere throughout all of these levels, some star coins, and some rare stones. Rare stones are pretty special because you mostly find them in special challenge areas that test Kirby's abilities. Sometimes a race, a battle gauntlet, or a puzzle, they put Kirby's copy abilities and Mouthful Mode to the test. If you manage to beat the part time, you even get an extra 50 star coins. Now, you only have around 10 copy abilities in this game, retaining some of the moves from the previous ones, but to make up for the small amount, you can upgrade all of them into more powerful forms. Nothing fundamentally changing for a lot of them, but the damage and or speed increase really puts in work and makes looking out for blueprints and star coins worth it. Even once they're upgraded, you can always change the copy ability back to a prior form if you just happen to like that one better. It's all about playing the game how you want to play it. Or you could just go waste your coins on the gacha machines in town that give you in-game models, but I think upgrades are worth it if only just a tiny bit more than that. And without going into spoilers, that's pretty much the game. Go level to level, area to area, sucking up anyone in your path while on the lookout for extra bonus missions to get materials to level up your gear. A bit simplistic, but it works. Not that there's much to spoil in the first place. I mean, there are some very fun things in this game, but it's more of a you gotta see it for yourself than me telling it to you, and I'm not gonna show you. I have decency. But if you do want more of that good Kirby lore, you're gonna have to go get the gacha items. That's where all the descriptions are, no start screen bonuses this time. But that does mean that you might get a little bit more writing because things like signs gets translated, so it's all fun. With that out of the way though, let's talk about the looks and sounds of this game. The game is very pretty. It shows you how much art style really matters. This game may only run at 30, but the animations themselves are clean and easy to see. The out of focus backgrounds are what really adds to this diorama-like look. It's as if we ourselves are right there looking down and focusing on Kirby's adventure. The different environments all complement each other, and the way the game plays with color when you reach the post-game is very eerie but exciting. The music is also once again fantastic. I might not have played many of those past games, but I sure did get those soundtracks. The Forgotten Land is no slouch, once again weaving in its main theme in different tempos and beats to match the action on screen or the mood of the scenes that's currently playing. Next up, we should talk about how Kirby feels to be in the third dimension itself. I talked about the camera, but not the little Pinky himself. Because of Kirby's natural slow speed and floatiness, he's a breeze to handle with this extra dimension. Kirby can't fly like he could before, but he's really great at getting back to his previous altitude. You don't have to worry about danger when you're checking those pits for secrets. As for fighting, Kirby can still block, and while I forget that he still has a slide, he has an actual dodge this time. When you dodge out of the way of any hazard at the last second, Kirby activates Stop. Kirby time. The game slows down, but it doesn't just work for attacks as I told you, but anything that is in harm's way. You also gain invincibility frames, but they only last during the dodge, so make sure you know where you're going, or lingering attacks like a shockwave might still catch you off guard. This type of mechanic really does make handling hectic moments much easier, and for a game like Kirby where you get your ammo to attack in boss fights from the bosses themselves, it makes things much easier to read during the fight. Each of the copy abilities' basic moves work really well out of dodging, and all of the projectiles have a bit of homing to them to make aiming just a bit more easier. Now, some people might think that this game is pretty easy. And it is. I died once, and that's playing on hard mode, wild mode, that changes damage, or is it health? Not quite the same thing, but the same general feeling. Wild mode gives you 50 extra star coins on level completion, which I like being rewarded for playing on harder difficulty, so it's very nice. That being said, just because it was easy doesn't mean I didn't have some nail-biting moments during my gameplay. When I got halfway through the game, I decided that sometimes maybe I don't want to use a copy ability on some of the bosses, and it really does change things up, but it also reminds you how nice Kirby can feel just playing him normally. Lacking copy abilities also helps you notice different things about some of the bosses themselves at times. And the challenge did ramp up enough for me to start stacking on power-up items near the end, though that could have been just for my own convenience. The speed-up power is very nice. But that's just the fighting. I think where Kirby shines the most is in the explorations and secrets, and there's no shortage of that here. The level puzzles, the star coins hints that lead you to places slightly off camera, it's all here and it's all great. 100%ing this game felt great, and all of its systems lean back into doing it. Leave it to Kirby to have the nicest gacha pull rate, but you still need a lot of coins to get them, and that's where replaying levels come in. When you replay them, you'll naturally get a bunch of star coins from where the wallabies once were and where you know the stashes are. The coins are not just for gacha, but for also leveling up your copy abilities as well. The only difficult collectible in this game are the rare stones, but that's where the Colosseum fits in. This is your boss rush mode, and its hardest challenge pushed me to the edge of defeat even with stacked items. I guess the thing that I enjoy about Kirby is that for every collectible that matters for 100%ing the game lets you know that it's there. Be it Ds, figures, secret challenges, it tallies them all up somewhere for you to check your progress on, but it never tells you outright where they are. So that means that those extra secrets that they don't tell you about and don't matter feel even more special, at least to me. I think the best secret is a secret for secret's sake. So while this game may be kind of easy and a little short, it's full of charms, thrills, laughs, and even a bit of drama all wrapped up in a cute pink package. I highly recommend it because at its core, it's a game that lets you focus on and play however you want to without feeling like you're missing out on something for changing the difficulty or not using what's recommended. Just like Kirby himself, this game's adaptable nature is what makes it a fun time for anyone. And that is Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Kinda glad that I was able to do another review, especially on a Kirby game. For me, this was very easy to get finished, and very fun as well to do something a bit more recent. If you feel like you want to subscribe or leave a like, go right ahead, but I do recommend commenting. Let me know what you think. I really do care. But until next time, as I always say, until we meet again, mata ao, until we meet again.